Hello, everyone. It is Monday, January 2nd in the year 2023. And thank you all very much for coming to this session of storytelling by and for adults. Arthi, thank you very much for coming and for telling. Please introduce yourself fully, tell us about your work, and please tell us a story.
Thank you so much, Eric. Wishing all of you a wonderful new year, and what a way to start the new year. My name is Arthi Mangalam, and I come with 19 years of experience in learning and development space. I train people on leadership and soft skills, and I'm also a coach. One of my passions is public speaking, and because that is a passion, I pursue storytelling, and I am a Toastmaster. And that's about me in a nutshell. Today, I'm going to talk about a personal incident that transformed my life. Heaven is a choice of life and not a place to find. It was quite late and I had just returned from office. My dad opened the gates for my car to enter. I drove in, parked, and trudged up the stairs to my house, dog-tired. I freshened up, had a hot but silent dinner served by my mother. Immediately after dinner, I dragged myself to bed, spent, tired, and slept off in a jiffy. The usual fight with my father about who controls the remote did not happen that day. Sleep engulfed me, and soon I started snoring away. Suddenly, I heard my mom shouting for me. In a state of comatose, I shook myself awake and ran in the direction of her voice to see my mom trying to lift my father, who was semi-conscious in the bathroom. With great difficulty, we lifted him to the bedroom and I called my neighbor for help. The next few hours were painfully slow and unimaginably fast. I remember calling my aunts and uncle, and as the curtain fluttered, I saw a glimpse of the doctor sitting on my dad's chest, trying to resuscitate him. Sometime later, the doctor came and said, he tried it all, but to no avail. I had lost my dad to a massive heart attack. Life came to a standstill for a few minutes. My neighbor uncle insisted I cry, but I was numb and could not react at all. I was worried about my mother, who was a heart patient, and for her sake, I put on a brave front. Being an only child, I had to take the responsibility for the preparation of the rites and rituals. The next few hours went in a blur, and alas, we were at the church with my dad in a coffin. As the day progressed, my mind started wondering about what my dad would be doing. Would he be on his way to heaven? Or does the soul take some time to start its journey? Would he refuse to go to heaven as he needs to be here to take care of us? With all these questions racing against each other, a sudden memory intruded the chaos. My father had the habit of wanting the skin of all fruits peeled before he consumed them. Even chiku, which is commonly known as sapota in this part of the world, he would want us to peel the skin and give it to him. Even grapes would want the skin peeled. A typical post-dinner conversation in my house used to go like this. Mom, do you want some apples? Dad, yeah, but make sure the skin is peeled. Mom, why? Doctors say that skin has all the nutrients and minerals. Well, remember, this was at a time when it was safe to actually eat the skin. We did not have pesticides infesting our fruits at that point of time. Dad, in that case, I don't want the apple at all. You keep your fruit with you. Mom, why are you being so adamant? Can't you even adjust a little bit? Do you know how much of time I invest in cooking and getting things ready for you? Dad. The skin, it obstructs my throat. It gets caught and it kind of causes me to choke. My mother, you're the only person in this whole world who would want the skin to be removed. Are you a baby? Do you think I don't have any other work? Why can't they just adjust and lead like normal human beings do? By now, the conversation has reached argumentative heights. Dad, in an exaggerated tone, says, when I die and go to heaven, God will have a seat right next to him. And he will create an orchard full of fruit-bearing trees with fruits that do not have any skin on them. So I could just pluck them and eat right off the tree. All this dialogue will happen in raised voices. After some heated arguments, which is usually one way with my mom doing most of the talking, unless I jumped in to support her, my mother would end up peeling the skin of the apple and give it to him. It took me the loss of my father to realize that for my father, heaven on earth was fruits without the skin so that he could relish them. What if I had peeled the skin and given it to him without making a fuss? What if I had given it to him without fighting about it? What if I had given it to him with just a smile on my face? Wouldn't I have created heaven for him on earth while he was alive? We do not need years to transform. One moment of self-realization can completely change the way we think. And for me, this was that life-changing moment. I thought of my school days where my teachers taught me to stand up and give up my seat for the elderly in the public transportation, or to offer food to the hungry, or to let them know if we found holes in the shoes of our classmates. Well, at that time, I felt like I belonged to the CBI working undercover, finding every child whose shoes had a hole and then immediately report them to my class teacher. But in this moment of clarity, I realized that my teachers were teaching us to create heaven on earth. Fast forward a few years, I fell head over heels in love. Never did I expect to fall in love in Orissa of all the places I could have imagined. I was there with my mother, filling out some forms when I heard laughter. I lifted my head and our eyes met. The twinkle in her eyes and the infectious smile caused my heart to stop. At that moment, I knew I had found my soulmate. Like typical Bollywood movies, I could hear bells ringing and the birds singing. My heart soared. I knew that it was love at first sight. I could picture the two of us dancing in the rain, laughing together, and growing old together. But I also knew that I had to break the social stigma and we had to be accepted. The next few days was a whirlwind of actions to seal the deal. I went through the process of registration, certification, relocation, reception, all happened in the blink of an eye. Studies say that 90% of pets begin to resemble their owners after some time together. Well, in my case, it was absolutely true. The strangers in my life think I conceived her in my womb. But in reality, I conceived her in my heart. I had not gifted her life, but life had gifted her to me. I still do not know how to be a mother, but I'm learning how to be a father too. When I started this journey of finding my child, I thought I was making a heaven for her. But in reality, she created my heaven on earth. Our journey has just started and we are taking baby steps together. Till I met her, there was a vacuum in my heart that I never knew about. But today, she's filled that vacuum. Many of us go in search of that heaven, which we think comes to us after we die, which we think is a place that we go to after our life on earth is done with. But in reality, heaven is a choice of life and not a place to find. But let me tell you, the devil in me still comes out to have fun. These days, when I go to any function and people ask me if this is my daughter, I say yes. And when the nosy meddlers follow it up with a question, oh, so what's your husband doing? The devil in me smirks and says, oh, I'm not married, and walk away without any explanation, laughing in glee. Remember, love, laugh, and live life to the fullest. Because heaven is not a place, but an experience that we can create while we live. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody, any thoughts, comments, questions, resonations?
It was very beautifully structured, Arthi. I loved the beginning and the way you drew us into that terrible moment. And then throughout the rest of the story, you took us out of it with thoughts of what we can do now to create heaven. I really like to start the day, which I'm doing. I like to start the day with that thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe.
Rachel, did you want to say something?
Yes, that was lovely and so well told. And I love your philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Let me introduce my little heaven to you, if I can, for a quick 10 seconds. So, yeah, this is my daughter, Preeti. Say hi. Hi. Okay, run.
Yeah, everything is in our mind.
I heard a voice, but it wasn't very clear. But
And approach. That's the message I taken from here. Are you hearing?
yes, that's better now.
The last bit, yes. But this is actually true. It was only when I lost my father and I was thinking of all the conversations, I realized I did it for him, but I complained about it. If I just left the complaining part and did it with a smile, I would have been happy in terms of I'd done something nice for him. I really miss, and I try my best to not repeat that mistake again.
That part reminded me of something I heard, that when the atomic bombs went off in Japan in 1945, in one family, the boy, before he went to school that morning, he asked for a chocolate bar, and his mother said, "You can't have it now. You can have it, when you come back from school." So he went to school, and tragically he was blown up. So he never came back. So she took that chocolate bar and made it part of a shrine in her son's honor. So whenever she looked at the shrine, she saw the chocolate bar.
Yeah, I'd agree. I really appreciated, Arti, the detail of the apple peeling and the time you took with that. And I think it's also a reminder to accept people as they are, not to argue. I think it's okay to question folks but to understand everyone comes from a different place and we have our different needs, and to honor where people are most of the time if we can. It's probably a small thing for us and it means more to them.
True.
Yeah, it was lovely, Arthi. Another thought which came to my mind is maybe, for all you know, your father would have enjoyed those arguments, those lovely, that was one way of maybe connecting with your mom and yourself, saying, do it. And that would have been also there. So there must have been something very nice about the whole argument with him. Maybe he must have enjoyed it, because that is another thought you can have.
Definitely.
Even those arguments are beautiful, remember that.
True.
Just my thought, nothing to take away.
Veena?
Yes, Veena.
Yeah, put something in the chat box. But as Parvati said, even that argument is good because they also need to talk. And we sometimes don't have time to actually converse a nice conversation with them. So even an argument becomes a conversation in one way. That's what I learned while doing elder care. Thank you for that, Arti and Parvati.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's a wonderful reminder about the importance of little things. Great. Shall we proceed? Anyone else want to say a final word before we proceed? No. Okay. Thank you, Arti.
Thank you all.
Eric?